Peace. Let's go. Who everybody there?
Do you remember?
I'm ready to have some fun again, you know?
Okay. So here we are back again. And I think we should start by re-answering to the last question on the other. So I don't want you probably have the question on your head, but I don't know if you want me to say.
Oh, actually, I don't. I'm gonna go with the flow again as usual, but it's just
Perfect.
that like.
So what we were talking about on the moment we closed up the first part of the Medz, I was asking you what was your opinion about the current situation of the dancehall. Like since you travel the whole world, or at least you travel a lot more than the major part of the people in the community, since you are from that side of the world, so you're forced to travel, like in that sense. And how do you see it now? Like you were going all the different places, so probably your opinion is like structure. Probably you had yours and now it's structured because of what you see. But I would like for you to share with me and with the persons that see these Medz how you feel about it. More than
I think
being polite, how you feel about it,
Yeah, I think I want to first focus on the positive side of things. I think what's really exciting is just how the fact that like it's blown up so much, and that like so many people are excited about wanting to learn dancehall. They're fascinated by it and all this kind of stuff. And that's really great for many reasons. But I also feel that, with anything that blows up at such an exponential rate where, in some way, because it's so fast and so quick, and also not that it's so fast and so quick, but it's outside of the island, there's no way to really control it and actually stay as close to the roots as possible. And I'm not even Jamaican, but it's like being in it for now 12 years, I have seen it transform. And of course the transformation is not only due to the amount of people that are not Jamaican or foreigners coming into it, but it's also due to the evolution of the music and all of those kinds of things as well, like the shift in the socio-political climate in the country or in the particular places, the cultural influences from all those places and everything. But basically, I think where I stand now and where I feel a bit sad about where dancehall has gone to now is that I feel that what is being valued in dancehall today has really shifted. Like, it's just that it's become like the focus of what classes are now about is like, or in general, it's about pumping out as many steps as possible and, learning as many steps as possible without it really having a real intention behind it, or understanding, like wanting to understand the intention behind it, and actually learning the step in its entirety in terms of like, okay, why it was created or who created it, and da da da, and then also being able to execute it like properly, not just kind of like, all right, cool, like I'm gonna know 20 steps, but each step when I do it, I'm only really dancing it 20% of what it should really be danced, So I think that's really how I feel about where dancehall is now. Like the focus is really different. And yeah, and like, like I was saying in the first time that we spoke as well, is that there's a big responsibility of, I was saying this even earlier today when I was talking to my personal trainer, like I think teachers really need to recognize their responsibility, their power, and even, once they recognize it, how they are the ones that are going to control in a way and be able to shift where the culture and the dance goes to, when I'm talking about in a studio environment, of course, like I'm not talking about it from the raw perspective of the parties and that kind of thing. I mean, as in like from the commercial perspective of teaching in a studio, in workshops and events. I really feel that the teachers really need to take back that power and recognize what they can do and how important that responsibility is. Because I think like once the teachers, especially those that come from Yad, the ones that come from Jamaica, like once they start to kind of like, you know, recognize and say, okay, look, okay, yes, you've come to Jamaica and yes, you've learned all these steps and yes, I love it when you endorse it and that kind of stuff. But there needs to be some form of control, some form of like guidance where it's like, hey guys, like amazing, big up yourself for doing the steps and supporting us. However, you know, you can seek out these people individually and be like, yo, like, I'm not saying to be kind of like a police, but in a way, in order to maintain the quality and not make it so like easily accessible to a point where it's like, oh, I just been studying or been dancing for this person for 1 year, or I just went to Jamaica one time for 2 weeks and boom, suddenly I'm teaching master classes and workshops. It's like somebody needs, or some people in the community need to take this equal responsibility to come around and be like, hey, we love you, we love what you're doing, we see your journey, we see your passion, but we feel that maybe you need to work on these things specifically before you take the role of the massive role of being a teacher and trying to spread it like that with your students. I think maybe if you're jamming with friends, that's totally fine. But if you're trying to earn money off the back of dancehall when you really don't have it yet, that's when like it's becoming a problem, because then you're going to produce more dancers and more students that have missing information, you know, that are also, because literally students, the blind leading the blind, like that phrase, you know what I mean? So I know there's that common saying, and I completely agree with it. It's like, okay, wow, but I really love it, and this dancehall isn't here in my city, in my small town, and the reason why I want to teach is because I really want to share the vibes that way. I feel like that is a really innocent and forgivable perspective, but I think that's where also the education needs to come in, because it's like, I know a lot of, because I mean, I can even say I've been there, you know what I mean? Like I discovered dancehall in 2008, and the information that I had in 2008 was so so limited and like nothing compared to what we have today. There was no Instagram, YouTube was just starting up, you know, and I only had a very few bits and pieces of information. And I remember when I won the title in 2008, you know, a lot of people were like, oh my God, okay, now that you got a title, run with it and teach it and da 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 da, and like use that title and everything. And I said, no, I don't want to do that. Like, I really feel like there's something super deep and special here, and I want to do it. I want to be able, if I ever become a teacher, I want to make sure that when I'm sharing that information and giving all of this stuff, I want to be sure in what I'm doing. I want to be confident in what I'm doing, you know, even if it's just 2 steps that I know for sure that I'm confident in, you know, I'm going to do that to my best of my ability. You know what I mean? So when I started off teaching in 2010, middle of 2010, so 2.5 years later, now looking back at it, I'm like, all right, it was definitely a very short period of time, like 2.5 years and you're already teaching, you know? So like people definitely make mistakes. And I wouldn't say so much that teaching after 2.5 years was a mistake. It's not that it was a mistake, but it's just that now I've learned from my personal experience that if I had the resources that I have today, like a lot of the young dancers have today, right? I would have taken my time. I wouldn't have, you know, jumped straight into it after, you know, like, oh my God, I have all this information here, all these videos, all these things. And then suddenly, boom, I'm going to teach a master class. Like, no, I would be like, oh my God, I have all of this. Okay. Study, travel. Whoa. And if I can't travel, because that was the case for me, I didn't have the finances to travel until a little bit later. Right. Of course, you can still travel, but through the internet, you know, like with the access that we have today, you know what I mean? So I definitely would have taken my time a little bit more. Not to say that because there wasn't that access that equated to not taking my time. I think it was kind of like coming from a place of like a lot of the innocent teachers. I want to say them innocent because they come from a good place. There was this excitement about it. It's like, oh my God, like I want everyone else to kind of like know what this is because I'm so excited. So there's definitely an innocence that comes with that, you know? But I think the difference between now and then is that like, I didn't have mentors constantly around me in dancehall, apart from the one that the woman that introduced me to it, and then she left and everything, so we weren't connected that way anymore, so I was on my own, right? Back then it had been so like I didn't have someone that would be like, hey, like you got to work on this, you got to work on that, or maybe blah 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 blah. Like I didn't have that type of support system and that guidance where it was like, you know, hey, you're not ready, or you know, you could probably do these things but not these things, or you know what I mean? Whereas I feel like now
Just
it's just so
tell
much.
you, like I don't know if you felt it, but I felt it a lot when I was practicing by myself. I felt that I had no one instead of me to look at my movement and tell me, you should practice more this, you should practice more that, because at a certain point of your point of view of what you understand on that moment, your movement will look nice and you will feel that that is actually going to somewhere. And maybe if you have someone near you, this is what I felt. I miss this, you know, like I miss someone to be there and tell me, you should work more on this, you should do more that, you should do
Yeah.
that. And right now, there is no problem about that.
There's no problem with that. And I think now that there's the other end of the issue here is like, there is all of that. And then I feel like people aren't accessing that information. Like they are accessing it, but they're accessing it in the wrong way. In when I say the wrong way, I mean, as in like, you know, people are watching, you know, but they're not wanting to admit that, hey, like I'm a student, like I gotta learn, like, and these are my teachers and these are my mentors. I find that a lot of people today across the board, not just dance hall, are kind of like, you know, doing their work through watching, right? And then they're coming out and they're like, boom, I'm this like self-made dancer. And I'm like, okay, but you had to be watching someone, you had to be following something to get that information. Like you can't just, like, no one is just born with all the technique and all the vocabulary. Like, you know what I mean? There's a source. And I think that's what I mean by utilizing it in the wrong way, because it's like, if you were open and accepting by the fact that, okay, I'm a student and I'm still learning, you would be so quick to send messages to all these people that you're looking up to and that you're watching and be like, hey, can you share some information here? Can you share some information there? You know what I mean? And going back to, because I'm kind of going like this a little bit.
It's okay, but it makes sense. The way you're going, it makes sense. Yeah. You're touching different topics that make sense on the overall, you know?
Yeah. What I wanted to then say, that's what was in regards to the teaching thing, was like, as in using myself as an example, right? Is like, looking back now, I may not have been 1000% ready, but like there's always two sides of the story. Like they always say, you know, with certain things, like, I think you've got the mentality of, all right, I got to be ready before I do it. And then sometimes you never end up doing it, like that particular thing, because you're always like, okay, now I got to be ready. And then you've got the people that are like, you know, not ready at all, and they still go and do it. You know what I mean? And then somehow through throwing themselves in that deep end, that kind of makes things, that kind of pushes and inspires and motivates in some way, that makes them get deeper and understanding better and go and do their research better and that kind of stuff. So I guess everyone's a little bit different. And I think what taking on the challenge and the responsibility of wanting to share dancehall in the little bit of information that I knew back then was that it was like, all right, I already had the self-motivation of having to kind of dig up and find all the information, but also having the responsibility of actually to share this information too meant that I was also using my classes as a training ground. And even today, you know what I mean, teaching people that have no idea about dancehall or even do, it's like you're constantly finding new ways and how to explain it, how to move your body, and how to understand your body, and how to articulate. You know, some people are better with words, some people are more better visually, you know what I mean? So I feel like when you become a teacher and when you choose to take that responsibility, there's so many gifts and things that you learn from that role that you wouldn't really get if you weren't teaching. So I think that there's definitely two sides of the story, you know what I mean? There's that side of like, all right, okay, there's no dancehall here and we want to be able to share that here, but there's only this one person that knows a little bit. So is it better to have someone that knows just a little bit, or is it better to have nobody and wait for however long until somebody who hopefully comes along that does have more information? So there's, I feel that kind of like a little bit of a clash, because we need to find that gray, happy balance of like someone that has a little bit information, even if it's not that a lot. And I think the perfect example is me again, going back to my teacher, because my teacher may not have been you know, a 1000% dancehall queen or all the knowledge about dancehall, but she was inspired by the music and she knew 3 or 4 steps only, and she fused these steps into a girly style, you know, street style choreography thing, and used dancehall music. And it was thanks to that whole class and that entire introduction, as much as it was just like literally like the tip of the iceberg, it sent me down the path that I'm on today, you know what I mean? So I feel like there's definitely positives and negatives to teaching when you're don't have that much information, or when you do have a lot of information in a place that doesn't have at all any access to it, you know? Yeah.
I would actually, how can I say? I totally agree with what you're saying, but when I look to it now, I look it in 2 different ways. You know, I had, you know, after our Medz, I went to check which year I had, because my first contact with dancehall was through a raga jam class, and I realized I was 13 years old when I did it, and was not even on a dancehall song, was on Papi Papi, Papi Chulo, and wait, I was the youngest on that class. I was going mad because on that time I was seeing those moves. I was like, oh my God, what is this? You know, like, and I could reconnect with the innocent Diana on that moment of wanting to know more, and even the teacher was not able to give me more. You know, like, she was giving me everything that she could, that she knew, you know?
Yeah.
And then I look to it now, and unless you do live in a situation or in a part in the world where you don't have access to internet, you know, which right now is very difficult for this to happen, because almost everywhere, depending, it doesn't matter where they live or the conditions of the house or anything, everyone almost has a smartphone somewhere, you know, like. So I feel that right now the problem is actually on the mentoring, because if we have more mentors putting on social media that the importance of what we are talking, probably the people that will follow them will follow that lead, you know? Maybe this is what I've been thinking.
Yes.
So I've been thinking that maybe if we all stand out on this side of the situation, maybe as someone inspired you, as someone inspired me with a little of information, people would feel like, oh my God, I need to sit and I need to see what I need to do. I need to share this with you. This week, I received a message on Instagram from a Cape Verdean girl, and I was there 2 years ago. And I taught one class. She came to the class and she was amazed because she was not, so she was taking everything she could from me on that time, like a long time ago. And she texted me and she was like, this week, hey Diana, can you send me things to read? Because I really feel, and I was like, I'm even getting chills because I was like, oh my God, the world is not lost. So there is people that are really willing to learn. So I really share your opinion on it. I also think that the commercialization, I never say this word good, of the dance is a problem. Is a problem and is a good thing. Is a good thing.
Yes.
And as you said, every positive brings negative. And I really think that this should come first from the creators, because I think I shared with you a situation that I lived in Jamaica, which don't matter with which dancer and everything. I remember I was in a class. It was last year in September. I was in a class and I was not even going to take that class, but I went with someone from Portugal and that person really wanted that class. And I was like, okay, let's do it. Why not? And another person joined our class. So when I was there, that person was, you could see it was a beginner. It was starting and I'm glad that it was a beginning and it was going to Jamaica. But the way the dancer was bigging the person up and saying like, you're a great dancer, you have a mad flow. And I was looking at her and I was glad that she was taking the class. It's okay for everyone to start in different points. But if I have a student that is not getting the move, that is not getting properly, I can't tell him that or tell her that it's good.
Yeah.
So when I was in that class, I felt like, what? I am like squeezing my teens in Portugal, like squeezing my people to get the best move of them. And I come here, I spend like 3 to 4 years to listen from some dancers' mouth that I was getting good and I was a dancer, that I was getting the vibe and then suddenly in 2019, I hear this in a class when the person is for her first time in Jamaica and probably was taking class for 3 months, like, and these.
Did you think this person, because I feel like time is also a little bit not the black and white way of trying to kind of measure it too, right?
But as a teacher, you learn to see.
That's what I wanted to ask you. In your honest opinion.
Yes, like you learn to see the quality of the movement. You learn to see when the person is starting, when the person needs to work on coordination, and it was the matter on that case, like there was needed some coordination moves still, some work on that, some personal work before going to work on what we were working. And I was like, it's okay for everyone to start on any point. It's okay for people to say, because every time I research more, I feel that I know nothing. So it's okay for me to admit, hey guys, look, I learned this, and all my life I've been teaching. I thought it was like this, but no, it's this. And it's okay for you to be humble enough to assume that on your class and to tell that.
100%.
But how can I help people grow? How can I support the style and everything if I'm giving um, a wrong message to that person, because if I'm bigging her up, that means that if she's not a real dancer and used to work a lot on her moves and getting up and going to work out and going to work on her move and just spending one day to work on a move, you know, like that person will probably take it lightly from there, you know, because it's like, oh my God, I'm starting 3 months ago, and this person that is a legend in dancehall is telling me like that I'm mad, that I'm the bad dancer. How would you feel if you step into the situation, you know, the dancers, and you follow them on Instagram and you see them like legends, and then they tell you that on your first class with them or second,
Yeah.
you know? So I guess this is probably the first time I'm sharing this open.
Let's go, sis.
But I feel that this touches the responsibility point that you were talking about, you know.
Yeah. I yeah, sorry, continue.
No, it's okay. It's okay. If you want to add something to what I'm saying, it's okay. Um, and what I feel is that if we are here taking that responsibility and working and having this kind of conscious talks to try to enlighten people's minds from the ones that are stepping into it, maybe the work there should be do on a different, I don't know, you know, like they should review what they are doing, because I am from the time, and probably you too, where I was taking like 2 classes or 3 classes with the same teacher and we were working on the same move. You know, like I was working on that move till I was dying, till I was no energy, till like I was like, oh my God, okay, again. You know, like, oh my, again and again and again. And I was not hearing like the movie's nice, you're doing it good. I was hearing like, okay, so now let's go home and go work on it. Work, work on it.
It's definitely it's a very different very different learning environment today. It definitely has shifted a lot in like from the time that I started dance professionally. In fact, let's just even say further back, like even when I was just taking classes and it wasn't a profession yet, you know, way back when I was 17 kind of thing. From that time until now, like the learning environment has definitely shifted. Like, you know, teachers and people in general are just so much more inclined to be like, you know, flames and you're amazing and da 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 da. And I think also, you know, social media has created kind of like an alternate life for so many people, you know. In real life, they're this kind of person, and then on Instagram they're this type of person. And a lot of the people now have kind of like, I feel there's this like almost
2 lives.
Almost like 2 lives, but not so much 2 lives only. It's like they maybe even to an extent value the way they are received by the public and their followers more than in real life. Because I mean, who doesn't want to be loved, right? Who doesn't want to be, you know, supported and that kind of stuff? So it's like, you know, you post your stuff and, you know, strangers and people like that don't know any better, or even if they do know any better, but yeah, they're gonna be like, yeah, amazing, oh my God, you're incredible, oh my God, you know. And there's this like hyper, you know, image of themselves as being created because of these things. It's like, so now it's like this person's walking around like, yeah, you know, I got like 100 comments saying that I'm amazing, so I must be amazing. But no, like, you know, there's levels to it. It's like, you know what I mean? And I agree with you entirely that teachers today, I feel like the I don't want to say everyone is like this, but I want to say that I think that a lot of the teachers today have moved a little bit in the direction of, or along with what's currently happening, supporting it, because more people and more students are softer today. they're softer, like they can't take constructive criticism as well as before. You know, like for me, like just even today, you know, like I could go into a class, dance hall, whatever style, right? And the teacher comes up to me and says to me like, yo, you gotta work that more, whatever. I always enter a class with my mind like blank, like as in I'm a student right now. I don't enter like, oh, I'm a teacher and yeah, don't you know who I am? I never enter a class with that vibe. In fact, I try my best to be like, okay, I'm going to class. You know, like nobody knows me. Like I'm just hiding in the corner here. Like, you know, I'm doing my thing and I'm making my mistakes. And blah, blah, blah. I love that feeling. Like, I don't know why people are so quick to want to be amazing. Like, I mean, where's the fun in that? There's no journey then. There's no next step. There's no next thing to kind of like learn. You know what I mean? Like, it's like
you said. I love what you said. Like how people want to be like amazing, like right away, you know. And
yeah.
I think that there comes the problem, and this generation, you know, the generation. When I compare myself to the generation right now of my brother, for instance, my brother is 21 now.
Yeah.
To that generation, that when I observe, I see that this generation is the one stepping into dancehall, like with the more 1 year or less 1 year, is this kind. They had everything. They had everything easy. They are video gamers, for instance, that start doing their videos on YouTube and making money with videos, or they are the ones that actually didn't had to. I don't want people to take me like, oh my God, she's putting everyone on the same bag. No, because there are some people that actually are hard workers and still work for what they want. But on the middle of that, I can say this because my brother is just like that. And I have students that are just like that. It's just like parents gave them things too easy because of several things. Maybe sometimes parents get divorced and then they don't say no to the kids, and then they got everything from the father, they got everything from the mother. And when they see they didn't have to work to have nothing of that. This is just an example, you know? Or for instance, they get things very easy, such as having a car or not having to work, or you know, like I was in my master, I went to work because I wanted to have my money and I wanted to spend my money on different things. I still have students like that, but I have students that when I say like, hey, that is not correct, they get pissed off with me. I was like, I'm not your mother. I'm not your mother. I don't need to have this. If you want, you can go out and just go wherever you want. But this to tell you, I feel that this generation didn't had that path that you were saying, like of digging, of having to explore, of having to really understand, okay, I want to do that. Because they always had like, you're hungry? Okay, take a plate. You're thirsty? Okay, you sure you're not thirsty? Well, take it. You want to go to the mall? You sure? Okay, I take you. You know, like there was not a moment where the people had like sit and say like, okay, let me think of what I want to do. There was something, always someone, probably the parents, because they want, I see this from my father, they didn't want us to have the life they had, you know, like to find the hard things they had. But still, totally, from the moment, like the way I was raised, the way my sister was raised, the way my brother was raised is totally different, you know, like
I think household situations definitely vary. Like I can't entirely say that, like I can't entirely agree with you that like I know that you said yourself that you're not putting everyone in the same bag, but I think there's two issues that you're bringing up here. You're bringing up household, or the way the young generation are raised today, and then you're bringing up the fact of having accessibility, most people having accessibility to the internet and all these fast foods and da da da. So the way the world is currently, with all the ease of the life in general, like if I were to just put the household situation aside for a second, if you're living in a more or less developed country, and even if you were to not even say developed country, should say even any country, developed, not developed, whatever, the fact that if you have, most people have access to internet, and then with internet you're going to have access to social media like Instagram, like now TikTok, that kind of stuff. Your information is literally at your fingertips, and because of the ease of that is very different to what we grew up in when it comes to getting access to dancehall back in our time, right? And I think that is why the sense, in a way, I think because of the ease of information access, that's such a great thing. It's such a beautiful thing. But I think because it's so easily accessible now, it's somehow devalued. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I feel like in some way it is devalued. And why is it devalued is because people kind of go like, oh, well, you know, like I can just, it's easy to get. And so the drive to dig for it is not as hard, because it's like you don't really have to try. You know, you just have to open your eyes and put your finger on the thing, and boom, you got that Google there, and then you're just gonna type that in, or you're just gonna, you know, go to Instagram, look for the dancer that you want to get in touch with, and send them a private message. Not to say that every dancer or every mentor is gonna reply. Everyone's different, but the point of the matter is, I feel because of that ease, that is the reason why this such information that we were craving for back then is not seen as valuable anymore, because it's so easily accessible in a way. Does that make any sense? I feel like in a really twisted way, that's how it's kind of somehow affected today's generation, you know? And I really, as much as some days I go through moments where I'm just like, why are you guys like this type thing? I'm like, well, I can't blame them, because that's unfortunately, fortunately, depend which way you want to look at it, they are born with all of this stuff. So in some ways, sometimes I'm not, when I think about it, I'm like, I'm not really that jealous of, I am and I'm not of the generation coming in now. And the reason is because it's like, you know, like I was saying, so I lost my train of thought earlier about, where was I going? Nadiah, mind, come back.
From the east to the information and everything.
When you don't have access to so much information, or you have missing pieces of information, you have to fill in the gaps. And I think when you're when you're in a situation where you have to fill in the gaps, that's how you become unique. That's how you add your own sauce, and you find you in the dance or in the culture or I feel, because it's like you're forced to. It's like you really want to be in it. You don't really have that much information. You have the A, you have the K, you have the C, but you don't have the B, the D, the E, and the F. So it's kind of like, well, let me try and find what the B kind of looks like. Maybe I got to feel my way through it, rather than let me just try and learn everything visual, like take everything from what you see online, rather than trying to kind of figure it out for yourself. I feel like the autonomy also benefits dancers, you know, the autonomy, the self drive to want to learn, take the information, but then also find you in it. I think that's also what's missing. And that's the reason why social media, I feel, is also affecting the dance or dance hall, or the authenticity, or the originality, or the individuality, like a spirit of the dancers today. That I feel like what's happening is a lot of amazing dancers are coming up, but they're amazing because of the fact that their technical knowledge and technical execution is being revered, it's being valued, whereas the other part of it, and that is the spirit and the understanding behind it and the intention behind the dance, that is all kind of being lost. And I mean, in one way, how can it not be lost if you're trying to learn everything from TikTok videos or from Instagram? The people that obviously not going to class physically, of course, you're gonna miss those things. You can't get spirit, you can't get intention really from just watching a video. You know, you can probably you can get someone's flow and everything, right? And that's what I wanted to add, like just a little side note was about when I said, you know, people want to be amazing straight away, you know, without going through the journey. And I think that's where a lot of people are forgetting, is that the journey is the freaking best part of it all, man. It's the best part of it all, because it's like, it's the end bit. Like once you start, when you finally unlock that one move, or even if it's not a move, it's just the groove, suddenly you feel you're in the pocket of the music. Suddenly you feel like, you know, something in your body has somehow switched, and you don't even know what switched, but suddenly you got it, and you're like, oh my God, like, wow, it feels amazing. And you feel like you freaking earned that, you know? And because you work so hard for it and you finally, you earned it, you're gonna value it more, you know?
I agree.
And yeah, it's just like, yeah, you're gonna value it more, and you're gonna cherish it more, and you're gonna wanna spend more time on the details and on the little things, rather than kind of being like, no, give me 20 steps in 1 hour so I know all the 20 steps. But damn, like, nah, like for me, I rather, if I'm judging a battle, or if I'm watching people dance, if like freestyle or just vibing in a party or whatever, I prefer to see people be doing like, you know, one step in like with their own sauce in the deepest way possible, because it's coming from somewhere, you know, like, and maybe even variations of it, you know, like if they added like a musicality thing, that's obviously everything I'm saying now is my own personal opinion, of course. You know, other people are going to be like, no, I prefer to see 20 steps in 1 minute. That's fine, you know, that's their opinion. But yeah, for me, like, I feel like telling your story and showing me who you are, like what's behind that physical body, like what is the spirit of you in the dance. I want to see you in the dance, you know what I mean? And I like to say this to my students when I'm teaching too. It's like, you know when I mean, maybe a lot of kids today don't even know this, like the coloring books, right? You know how you get the books with the images, even before you can color in, you have to connect the dots. So there'll be like 1 connected, 2 connected, right? And then after you connect everything, you look at it and you're like, oh, it's like Mickey Mouse or something. And then you choose to put Mickey Mouse, give Mickey Mouse pink ears, and then his nose will be, you know, purple, and then the other part of it will be green and whatever. And then you look at the next kid's book and they did a completely different combination. And it's like, oh, wow, I didn't think that I could put Mickey Mouse's ears as orange, but you did orange, you chose orange, you know? And it's like, that's the difference, you know? You can be like, oh, this kid decided to go orange all the way, you know? And this kid decided to go all the different colors. And then you look at them and you go like, wow, like, that's how that person sees Mickey Mouse. So Mickey Mouse is kind of like, you know, maybe Urkel dance or Level Up, or, you know, all the dances that we know. Like that's technically what Mickey Mouse is like. And then adding the color is your flavor and your sauce. Like, yeah.
That is a very nice and beautiful perspective of it, and I think very easy for everyone to understand. You know, like,
Yeah.
compare it to something that simple. You know, I don't know if you feel that, but sometimes I think that the problem, or the only problem, is that we live in a too complicated society. It's like we are, by being human beings, we are unsatisfied by nature. So this unsatisfying state of us will drive us maybe through paths that sometimes we don't even understand that we are going there, you know, and maybe we will go through some streets that we should stop a little and should maybe get to know that path better and before we go on the main road. But we are so blind with something that maybe we don't understand, that we just go through. And that's what I think, when I think that the the journey is missed, you know.
Yeah.
A while ago when you said that you're envious but you're not and everything, i I think that long time, a lot, like maybe 2 years, I felt myself like, oh my God, if I had access to these things when I started, oh my God, I would be like faster to evolve than I am now. Like I would be
Yeah.
having, you know, like.
Yeah.
And then one day I sit and I was alone and I was like, nah, I would not change it.
Yeah.
It was, I don't know how you feel it. It was painful in sometimes, in some moments, because when you want something so deeply, you want to understand something so deeply that you don't know how to guide yourself, and you don't know where to look, you don't know, you know, like you don't, and you need to dig, really dig. I felt lost loads of times. I felt if I should go on, if I should not go on, but I never lost hope. So I I keep going, I keep going, and I keep going. And by the time I remember when I was 14, when I was 15, when I was 16, and after when I was 20, and even after I go to Jamaica, and after I was already teaching, people around me, they were telling me like, why you dedicate yourself so much? You know, like, and then I see and I look to my students, and sometimes I tell them like, guys, I'm here, squeeze me up, take everything from me. I would give
Yeah.
everything to have
Yeah.
someone near me that I could squeeze even today, you know. And then I look to my journey and I would change, I would not even change nothing,
Yeah.
because I think that we are activists, and we have this need to tell people how important it is to dig, how important it is to understand, because it actually was hard for us to get this info that they have,
Yes.
you know. And when we see, at least like imagine like now on COVID, I was hearing so many people saying like, oh my God, I'm tired of online classes, oh my God, I'm tired of all these lectures, I'm tired of being home. And me, Diana, I was home and I was like, whoa, all these online classes, what do I sign in? Let me check which money I have so I can do everything that I can, you know. Like I was like, oh my God, these people is not even realizing what is happening right now in the world. I had to travel to Jamaica, like, to have classes with these people, and now they are teaching 3 times in a week, like for this price. I don't even have to pay for a flight, you know. Even though it's not personal, you will never get the vibe, you will never get, but you can listen to them, you can look to them. And I was in classes where people were like, yo, you're doing that right, you're doing that wrong, that arm, your right arm, go back again. And it was an online class, you know, like people were actually really working on you. And so here again, it comes the ease to information. The COVID for me was like the proof that we live in a society that is not ready to work, that wants everything like this.
True.
It's done. Like fast food. Take it. It's done. You know, and
100%.
and people are not ready to have the work because I need to open my computer and I'm on my living room and you're in Australia right now, but we could be we are sharing and we are learning from each other with the talk. But we both had to be willing to be in front of the computer, to be in our living room and to be doing this. So of course that probably maybe you were learning from a video or whatever, but you're learning. You need to be with that mindset. Although the internet cannot be good, we lived times where there was no internet. I was always telling.
Holy shit, there wasn't even Instagram. There was no such thing as Instagram Live, Zoom application. Like,
My first phone, my first cell phone was this size.
yeah, same.
Okay, and had no internet, no nothing. It was a Motorola. Oh my God, I remember that huge and
Yeah.
I could do this. I was just like this, you know, like big as fuck. And I was like, I was telling this to my students. Why you're complaining? You're complaining because your internet is not bad. I'm from the time you wrote letters. I am from the time how I would teach you a class or how they would teach you a class from a letter. Like, you know, like, you know what I mean? Like, so again, the problem is that people are getting everything too easy, you know, and
I mean, that's
don't
a
value,
no-brainer.
they don't value, and that gets me on a point right now. I'm better with that, but I need to confess that I still get pissed when people come to me nowadays and they say, "Oh, really? I didn't knew that. I didn't knew where to look." I was like, all over Instagram.
Yeah.
Instagram account. You
It's
know,
really
like,
true. I think laziness is very much of a disease, a sickness of the of the current situation. Because I mean, like, sometimes it's like I'm amazed at sometimes at some of the questions, and I don't mean questions of dancehall related only. I just mean just life questions, like, oh, I didn't know that. I'm like, but you have a smartphone and you have Google. Just type in that question and all the information. It's going to be like the easiest stuff. Like, I don't know, like maybe like, you know, that, Zambia is in Africa, like that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like when people are kind of going like, oh, I didn't realize that was in Africa. I didn't realize that. It's like, okay, like how, what? How do you not know these things? Like, everything is available to you. Like, you just need to be interested in wanting to know that information and to look for it and read, you know what I mean? But what I wanted to add to what you were saying way before about teachers bigging up their students when it's too soon and therefore it having a negative impact, a positive but also a negative impact. A positive one because obviously it reassures the student that's learning, it gives the student confidence, and I think that's really great. But I also feel like teachers really need to find the right balance where they're giving honest feedback, realistic honest feedback, where it's like you're getting it but you still need to work on XYZ, you know, not that. Sorry,
I believe in that. I don't that to put people down, you know, like,
okay. No, I'm not saying that you're saying that. I'm saying that today what's happening is it's just kind of like, you're bad, the baddest. And I'm just like,
I agree.
Okay, really? Like, wait, calm down. Like, calm down, you know?
I'm sorry.
So I really, really feel that I agree with you in that the comments are a little bit exaggerated and creating this false image of the dancers, are creating this false image of themselves when they go back home. And I think that's where then the issue lies, when, you know, a lot of the dancers get vexed and they're like, yeah, you know, cultural vultures and da 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 da, and they get all vexed about it and everything. And I'm like, all right, you know, like I get where you're coming from, but at the same time, it's like, well, if you're going to, you know, like encourage that behavior by, you know, when they endorse a step, and like I was saying earlier as well, when they endorse the step but the step is done not entirely correctly, but you can kind of get an idea that they're trying to do the dance, and you're like, you big up these people from blah blah, big up all the time, and like, you know, my sister, blah blah blah, and it's like the biggest praises, you know, and you're just like, okay, that's really nice that like you want to support, I get it, but sometimes I wonder, because there's two ways that I can see it, right? There's the way of the fact that I feel like in general, Jamaicans don't see dance hall, and I might be wrong, but they don't see dance hall in the capitalist way that non-Jamaicans see it, right? They see it first as, this is a family thing, this is a community thing, you know what I mean, right? So I feel that the encouragement is coming from a place of kind of like naivety and innocence, where it's like, oh my God, wow, this foreigner is doing this, and they're kind of catching it, and you'll big up yourself. Like, it's exciting, you know, it's so exciting to see foreigners take up your culture. Like, it's like, whoa, you know, like, even if they're not doing it 100% amazing, first they're doing your dance, and they're kind of getting it. So it's exciting. So I think I want to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that I think that's where a lot of it is coming from. But then with that innocence, there is that negative side effect that they're not aware of what it's creating. And that is that the way foreigners are hearing it is kind of like, ooh, okay, so if this dancer is saying that I'm amazing and I'm the baddest and da da da, then that means when I go back to my country, yo, I'm the baddest dancer, and I got the automatic permission to start teaching. And that's where I feel the disconnect is happening, because it's kind of like, okay, I said you were good, but I didn't mean that you're good enough to then take the dances that we taught you and teach it in the watered down, unsure way that you've done to your students, and get paid from it at the same time. I think that's where that friction is coming in, because a lot of now they're realizing and looking at it being like, yo, how is this person on a lineup when they don't really, I'm not really doing the dances correctly? Like, how are they on a big event lineup? Or, you know what I mean? Like, these dancers are now questioning it. You know, I question it, you know, but I definitely feel that, like we said in the last conversation, that it definitely comes down to recognizing the power of the word that you give, what you say, how you conduct yourself, and how it's going to somehow impact and be heard and received another way. That's a lot of energy. That's a lot of energy, because you have to always be 10 steps ahead. Like, you have to always be like mindful and try to be like, okay, see it from all different angles, you know? And I feel being able to do that comes entirely from experience. And when I say experience, I don't only mean in the dance, but I mean in life, you know, because that's the reason why I am totally fine with sharing my history and saying maybe where I could have done better, or where I could have gotten more help or something like that, but I didn't have that. Do you know what I mean? So they're definitely, and like what you were saying too, about when you gave the example of, there's the road and then there's two things, and then there's these two roads that you can go off for a second, take some time over here, and then come back on the main road and keep going straight. But most people now miss the side roads and just want to go like a race car all the way to the end of the finish line, right? And
I think
damn it, what was I trying to
aware,
say about that?
you know, I think that sometimes people are not even aware of what of all the options they have around, because they are focused on that, you know. From,
Yeah.
from what I've been learning, and again the experience that you were saying, especially with teaching, I learned this about bigging up and telling you need to work more on these and blah 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 blah. Because at the beginning I had students that I was like, okay, so the move looks nice, so let's work more on the move now on this part. But
Yeah.
I told at the beginning the move looks nice, and I learned that I should tell like, okay, so we need to work on this and that, but you're getting it, and they were listening in the different way, you know, because I had students that on a certain point they got like, oh, so I get it and I have it, and then I wanted to tell them like, look, this is a non-ending road for you.
Yeah, 100%.
For you and for me. I feel that for me, I will have 80 years old, 80, and I will be like trying to still figure it out things and try to still understand things and try to find info. So how come we being on this conversation niche thing about you're being ready for something? We are ready because we need to take risks, but we can't, we will never got it, because I feel like every time you do a move, it can be the first move you learn, you will always get it better, you know, you will always get it better, you will always. And you know, I had a situation with a student, a very young student. She was amazing. When I tell you she was amazing, she had talented, she was young, not even 12, young. And she was
Okay.
with me since she was 4. And when she was 4, you could see her talent, you know? You could see that she could move and everything. And suddenly she started dancing with so much energy and so much everything and putting so much move. I was having adults that were not dancing like that. So I wanted to motivate her. So I motivated like, okay, we need to work more on that, and that. But then at home, and that's when I tell you that the environment at home, it needs to keep telling people, okay, you're good, but you can do better. Let's go.
Mm,
Still support, you know, like still got their back and still support and saying, oh my God, you're really good, but let's work. You can be better.
yeah.
You can do better. But no, they got to a point where they start thinking that she was very good already.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Evolution stopped, you know, like the evolution stopped. And I think that people need to realize, and I agree with what you're saying on your point of view of when Jamaicans do that comment about they are happy about the, it's like a family environment. They see them doing the dance and they are happy because they are actually endorsing their dance and not a different dance. And they're like, oh my God, you're doing our dance. That is nice. Thank you for doing it, almost in their inside of them, you know?
Yeah.
And then by telling this on a patois way or on an English that you can get it, I can get that point of view, but people will look to that amazing comments and they will get that, they will stop evolve because they will not get it on a moment, like on a moment, no, on the sense that they still need to work on that, especially
Yeah.
if they are young, you know. This is where I have been noticing it when,
But
yeah,
continue, sorry.
no, tell it.
What I wanted to say, well, I've come to the realization that you're either somebody who will always be a student, meaning like it's naturally in you that you want to keep learning and you're like excited, like you're a child for the rest of your life. Like you're kind of like, oh my God, I want to learn. And then there's people that have a certain goal. And when they get to that goal or that level, they're happy to get there. And you look at, and sometimes, I mean, I've seen talented dancers too that have reached a level where I go like, oh wow, like you could go so much more further.
Yeah.
Then it's kind of like it's sad for us because we're like, oh my God, what a waste, like, ooh, like you could really be so much better, you know. But then I've really learned to try my best anyway, to just kind of be like, that's just not my journey. And that's just not something that I want for them. Like in my mind, I'm like, I project that because I see the talent. Or even there's been dancers that have never pursued dance full time because they love dance as a hobby, but never to be full time, right? And even I have friends that way that I'm even with that, I'm like, oh, damn, man, but you could be so good. You could be so good. Like, but why would, like, and when I was younger, I had friends that I would actually be like, why? Come on, man. Like, you could really be something amazing, like da 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 da. And they'd always be like, nah, I'm good, man. I'm good doing it just as a hobby. Like, and I'd always be like, oh, such a waste. Like, I don't say that, and like, I know that's a little bit selfish or,
No, it's not.
unfair for me to say that, but that's because obviously I believe in the person so much and I see it. I'm like, oh God, you're so good, right? But at the end of the day, it's just that you and I both need to step away from the fact that, they plateau and that's their choice. But then again, there are those that plateau and then they're like wondering why they plateau. Like, they're like, oh, like, okay, why I'm not growing anymore? And I'm like, well, you're not growing because of the reasons that you just said, right? Like, because you think you're that and you're not working those things anymore because the one person that you look up to said you're amazing in that step. So you stop training it? Is that what it means? No, it doesn't mean that. It's supposed to, and that's the thing. I think people can take it two ways again. You can take it one way where you can be like, oh, cool. I got that step down. I got it. I don't need to work it no more. Or you can take it and be like, okay, the person says that I got it, but I want to get it even more so that when the next time I come back and do it again, maybe the person's going to be like, yo, like, okay, I mean, you got it, but I mean, there's something else on top of that. There's like that, you got the aki, the saltfish, the every single thing on top of the, you got all the layers, like, so I think that's what it is. And I think also what's really beautiful about, the journey in dance and about the journey in life in general is that you start to kind of accumulate all these experiences, right? And they're all behind you. And you're then sitting in the moment and, like, I'm seeing myself, that's happening to me right now. And that happens to me a lot these days, and it's going to happen to me again in 10 years time now, or even 1 year from now, whatever, you know what I mean? But it's like, in order for you to kind of like do better in the future is to kind of, and I know that sounds like a no-brainer, but it's like to learn from your experiences, right? And that's what I wanted to add from what you were saying about that road, right? I know you said that some people don't even see it, but the people that did see it, right? They see it and they go, no, never mind, keep running. And then they're going to hit a wall, and the wall is going to tell them, the wall is obviously some experience in their life, and it's going to tell them to go back to those streets because that's where that information that you missed, it belongs. That's where they are right now. You have to go back there. And there's a very famous Ghanaian saying, or euphemism, I'm not sure if that's the word in English, but anyway, it's a saying, and it's a word, it's called sankofa, and it means to go back and get it. And I think the way I understand sankofa, it means you need to know where you came from, you need to know your journey, you need to know your past in order to move forward informed. Or some other people describe it as you need to learn from your experiences from the past, right? So yeah, I think like having this conversation with you is really amazing because, like, we've had many layers to the question about, where dancehall is now and where it's headed, and the importance of the teacher's responsibility and all that kind of stuff, and the upsides and downsides. Because if you were to talk to me maybe like, I don't know, 8 years ago, I think I would be very aggressive and harsh about, no, you're not ready and therefore you shouldn't be teaching. But now I'm more like, okay, wait, hold on. It's all circumstantial. It's like, okay, you might not be ready, but you may be in a place where there's not much access to information, right? And you may be so keen to share and you are short in those two things that you have. So maybe just have two friends with you at your house, just dancing around and share it like that. Or if you feel like you have to go and put and earn it with the money, this is the part that I don't agree with. If you're not ready and there's no access to it yet in your city, but you want to kind of earn money from it, I don't agree with it yet. I feel that you still need, even if you're in a place where there's no access, don't capitalize off it yet, but I think you could still create some type of community. You know, you could still kind of like go to the parties and be like, oh, I know this dancehall step that I learned, you know, online, or I learned from seeing something or whatever. And I kind of want to like teach it to you. I'm not entirely sure how it's going, if I'm doing it right, but let me teach it to you. And then this person goes, oh, I like it. And this person goes, oh, I like it. And now you got 3 people liking it. And then the 3 of you guys are studying together and that kind of stuff. So I really do feel that it is very circumstantial. And I think it's also very much dependent on how you do it, why you do it, you know. I definitely despise, and I love this word, I despise the people that, you know, just take it and go, okay, I know the 10 latest steps, and because I just came back from Jamaica for 2 weeks and it's my first time or whatever, and you know, I learned from all these, and now I'm going to teach a master class and earn money from it. These people.
Yes, I know. I feel it too.
You know, this is the thing that really hurts me.
You know, actually, I really think that what you're saying right now, we can manage to look at it on this perspective because of our experience, and actually because of us have been so activists, you know, on a certain point of our lives, you know. And I don't know if you felt that, but I felt that, especially in Portugal, when I was so activist, everyone was looking at me as the freak of the dancehall, you know. You know, like, oh my God, that girl thinks she knows everything. Oh my God, she's traveling every time to Jamaica. Oh my God, she thinks she is a Jamaican. Oh my God, she's like, you know, like there was a oh my God, and you can finish it anywhere, having the dancehall world in that. And I have been there, you know, like, and I have been to a point where teaching, I realized, I don't know if you felt that, but I realized that on my journey, on my path, I really wanted to work on me, but I spent so many time putting my energy on wanting my country to develop it, or on wanting my students to develop it, or on wanting people to get it good, that then I look at me and I put on them the hopes of my choices. You know, like this, I was hoping for them to want to go further. For I saw the I saw how Portugal can be big. I know the amazing dancers we have. We could be good as fuck. You know, we can be big. And I was seeing that. I was like craving for that, you know, like, so I put all my energy into the events. I was putting all my energy into my students, that a few years ago, I realized I was almost, not every day, but I was sad. I was upset. And I couldn't realize with what. And then I realized that I was not focusing on myself. I thought I was focusing on myself, but I was just being a vehicle. And I wanted so much this to happen because I feel so happy when I do it. It fills my soul that I'm like, if you taste just a sip of what I taste when I hear this song, you will be amazed. And this drove me so many years that I end up forgetting that the choices were mine on the first place. And that was me that chose to go deep into the culture. I chose to research. I chose to do the dances. I chose to have 4 or 5 classes with the same 7, 10, whatever, with the same dancers to get my move better. Like I chose to do these Medz. It was not the other people. So I can't hope on them to want what I want, or to want to see dancehall the way I see it, or I can't wait on them to start researching now, just because I know from my point of view that they will understand better the movement, that they will understand better the music. For instance, this week, I usually talk about the traditional dances, and there is the Jamaican voodoo of kind of it, which is Obeah, and there's a lot of songs talking about Obeah. Yalo Pum Pum Obviamente, like for instance, or Alkaline talking about how the girl voodoo him, and like this is a simple example. And if you're listening to these songs again with this knowledge, with this time, you will listen to the song, you will like, yo, yes, I do obey you, like you will feel the vibe, you will feel it more, you will actually understand how smart and complex this dancehall ecosystem is, like, but again, I realize that those choices are mine, for me, Diana, and I can't hope on other persons, although they can be talented, although they can be, I can't, sometimes you get attached to people and you think that they will go with you, that they
yeah,
because they get with you for so many years there, they are with you so many years practicing, and then when you want to boost them, they're like, oh, I'm not sure if I want this, and then you get frustrated inside because you never realized that could happen.
Yeah, I understand and totally get what you've experienced, because that's exactly what I went through here in Australia. Being so passionate and so deep in it, and like, oh my God, like so excited about this amazing culture and what it makes me feel, and like, oh my God, you guys need to know it too, guys, come on, let's go, let's do it together, woo. And you create this, like, you're so excited, and you create this dream community where everyone is just as excited and deep, and oh my God, like they're just as passionate, and they're drinking the same, like, oh my God, like they want it all, that kind of thing. And then you realize, like, okay, wait, hold on, like, nah, they're not that deep in it. They don't want to be that deep in it, or they just don't connect with it that way. And I know I totally get what you're saying, because for a long time, I wouldn't say that I forgot about, me so much in terms of what I needed, whatever, but I definitely poured a lot of my energy and dreams and aspirations and hopes, and I would say that I definitely projected that I wanted I wanted at least, one student, 2 students that would be just as like, oh my God, yes, kind of thing, like, and I had loyal students that came to class for sure, and I love them to bits, and I give thanks for all the ones from the day one that I started teaching till now, excuse me. But yeah, like, to kind of like, it just was kind of, you always found yourself planting seeds, right?
Yes.
That's how I say it. You plant these seeds, and then the seeds grow, but then it's like, imagine you're like the tree that's already kind of like bearing the fruits. The fruits is the information that we give, right? And then the seeds are the fruits that's falling in the ground. So you've given all that information, they're in the ground, and now they're starting to grow. but then they stop growing at a certain stage because maybe they're not receiving enough sunlight, maybe they're not receiving enough minerals, whatever that may be. And these minerals and this sunlight could be interpreted in the dance situation as maybe lack of interest, you know, maybe they prefer to learn another style, like they have other influences, you know what I mean? So the tree itself that's growing here is the dance hall, but then it grows only to a certain level, and it never really, maybe one, maybe two, maybe they, except for those one or two, they never get to the height of the tree that you're standing on. So they never end up bearing the fruits like you're bearing the fruits, you know? And you feel alone. You feel alone, and you feel like, man, I've kind of given all this energy, and it's like no one is seeming to love it and cherish it and value it the same way that you are, that I am, that you are, you know what I mean? You're like, oh, why not? Why'd you do it? You know, you just get frustrated and angry and sad, and you're just like, oh, like why, you know? And yeah, same thing. I had a realization years ago that like, I was like, oh, okay, I have to just accept
Yes.
that, like I have to protect myself and also accept that, okay, I'm still gonna give and pour and all that stuff, but I'm not going to get attached to any of these students or attached to the idea that they will, no, not even that, erase that. Not that I don't get attached to students, I still get attached to students. Not that I don't get attached to these. I'm not going to put expectations
Yes.
on the fact that, you know, because it's like, I realized what I did. It was like, I was giving because I wanted to give, but of course, deep down, I was also giving because I wanted to get. And what I wanted to get was that result of other people also wanting to love dancehall the way I loved it and get deep in it the way I got deep in it, you know? And that's an expectation. And I think in life in general too, completely unrelated to dance, like expectation often, especially when it's not a mutual expectation that has been discussed between two parties, often leads to disappointment because you create that expectation and the other people on the other side, or the other person on the other side, is totally unaware of this expectation, you know? And then you just get yourself down for nothing, and you hurt yourself for nothing. You know, not that dancehall is, you know, hurting yourself for nothing. I don't mean like dancehall is nothing. I mean as in like you approached it, not you Dana, but you as in general, you approached it in a way, you know, that was hurting you, you know? Yeah, and I definitely went through that period. And yeah, and now I just kind of, like, I've had conversations with Legend, for example, Sir Legend, you know, and he said to me at the time when I was going through a really hard time, you know, he was like, look, like, focus your energy on the ones that do keep coming back. Even if it's just one that keeps coming back, that's the one you want to hold on to, because that one that keeps coming back is most likely the one that eventually
will go through.
Gonna go in your direction eventually. And if he or she doesn't, then you just have to accept that he or she didn't. You know, you can't expect them to walk the same path that you did, you know? And yeah, and so I think now I'm at so much more peace with it, and I still have the same drive and the same intention of wanting to pour into my community, but it's definitely coming from a place of, if you want it, you're there and you do the work, and you know what I can do and what I can't do. And if you don't want it, you won't be there, and that's totally fine too, because I'm happy with what I've achieved and what I've done. And it's not even like a selfish perspective. It's just kind of like, well, like you said, it's your choice, it's your journey. You decided to go on this path, and you know, you need to be happy with where you are at on your journey, and the extra what happens there with you being able to then now have the energy to give back to the community. It's up to the community that wants to take it or not. And if they don't, they don't. Yeah.
I do agree, and I realize that sometimes, I realize that we are lucky persons because we discovered our passion very early, and there are people that live the whole life without finding it. And
Yeah.
I think that sometimes people just realize on a certain point of view that, oh my God, I like this, but it's not my passion. And maybe they feel this way about something else. Maybe they feel this way about studying the sea or about meteorology, or, like maybe they will be vibing on this side with a different area of study of what they want to be, like, and it is okay. We just need, as we did, to realize that this choice is ours and this is
Mm,
our path. The ones that want to hold our hands and come, while they want to come, I will gladly hold their hand, and I will
yeah.
gladly say to them, get up your foot, there's a stone there. Get up your foot, be careful with that stone. Let's go up. Let's go. I will totally gladly. And I realized that I got emotional. Of course, I am totally emotional. I am like, I'm Aquarius. I love persons around and everything. And I I was upset when I knew that someone that had talent and that I was working and that I knew that could get there fast was not coming to class. And maybe when I start teaching back, I was I was teaching, and then I went back and I went home and I was like, oh, but that person didn't came, and the class was awesome. I should never done that. I should apologize to the students in the class, because the ones there are the ones that need our attention. And as you said, the ones there are the ones that I'm focusing and I'm giving them everything. And I learned that, because before I was so amazed with everything that I found, like, oh my God, this is so curious. Don't you get like, I get with everything that I found out. And I I realized that I shared that info out of class a lot. And I was like, no, I will not do that. I will not do that. You know why? Because if people want to learn, they will search the way I did, or they will come and ask. And I put myself on a point that I start to value. This was years ago, but anyways, it's still a process. I think that we will always be working on that. I put myself on a point that I like, okay, this is my path. This is what I want to do. This is what I realized. This is what I do for living. So let me work on myself. Let me work on my research. Let me work on my things. Let me work on my move. So I'll be better to work you on your move and to help you with your move. So, I think that as a human being, this journey of the dancehall, we can totally like take it to different places. And for me was really, and it still is, a self-knowing process where I get myself, Diana, together, and I put myself aware of things that were always there, but I didn't want to see it then because I was too passionate about it.
Yeah.
I am still, and that is the beautiful thing about it, is that the passion I felt on the same day, maybe the things don't amaze me on the same as I saw them on, and as they did on the first time I saw them, but every time I learn something new, every time I realize my movement is better, that I unlock, as you were saying, a door, for infimum that it is, I get the same vibe. I get the same amazedness. I get the same, I look like a child. I remember when I was 13 on that Papi Chulo class. And Yeah, I was like, yes, you know, like sometimes I get, oh my God, don't you see it? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
and I realized doing this to myself, and that is the most wonderful thing, you know, like, or for instance, this quarantine, I start seeing a series on Netflix, which is Outlander. And
Okay.
on the last part of the season, on the last season of the series, they had 2 or 3 episodes in Jamaica on the time that the Irish and the Britain were colonizing it, and when Jamaica was considered the jewel and the rich side, like the rich island where everything was happening, you know, like, and I stepped into this thing because my sister was seeing it, and I was seeing it, and I was like, oh my God, everything I research is actually happening there. So this girl that wrote it, she was actually researching. And just by knowing that the girl did the research, I was so happy inside. I was, oh my God, my sister was like, look, she's having an attack. And now I was like, oh my God, can you, she really researched. This is really, you know, like, and this is me, and I had to learn again that this is me and this is how I get, and now know how other persons get, you know.
Yeah.
And now I'm cool with it. Now I'm cool with it. Sometimes I have my moments, but uh, but I feel that is a beautiful journey. And the thing is that I can even appreciate more these kind of conversations,
Mm.
because I can thoroughly sit back, you know, and look to the community and look to the scene like, okay, let's see, you know, like,
Yeah.
putting myself out and taking my opinion out and not looking with non-opinion, just looking at the facts and what is happening. And
Yeah.
that makes me feel awesome, because I think that you need to be mature enough on you as with yourself, and also to be okay with certain things that we realize that we are now, that we are not as aggressive, that we are not, you know, like, but all of this takes time.
Yeah, and I think like honestly, I just think like when you are so attached or in love and passionate and with a culture and with something, right? Like when you have invested so much time and energy in it, um and you love it so much, you know, it's like it's, I mean, not that I know what it feels like to have a baby because I don't have a baby, but I feel like it would be like having, in some way, maybe in some way it would be like having a baby, because you just, it's like you know, you met it when it was like this, and then you kind of like spent all this time to grow it, right? And then it's now grown, right? But then it's kind of also being exploited, you know.
Yes.
And then that's when, like, even though you have to step back from it so you don't get so affected by it, I have to admit that I'm still not 100%. I'm not in a place like where a lot of people can be, where they can just continue like this and not say anything. Like, there's so many things about what's happening in the community worldwide and the direction that dancehall has taken, that I have so much to say about, you know, including what I have said so far, you know. And it comes from definitely a lot of it is coming from a place of hurt and disappointment and sadness, in a way of where the direction that it's taken, you know. Obviously not all of it, you know, but there's definitely a lot of parts that I've just kind of been like, oh my God, like it never used to be that way. And like, damn, like, why is it like this now? And, you know, you just kind of, you know, and I feel like I have, it's like, you know,
Mission.
No, it's not a mission. It's like I have this, oh my God, my nose ring just keeps twisting. I have this thing where I feel like I'm still so in love with dance hall and so in love with it all and everything. But it's becoming harder and harder to find communities, people, and places. And I don't mean places just like places, but like places like where the party's at, that kind of thing, that still reminds me of the original energy that makes me feel like this is dance hall. Like I feel like it's getting harder and harder to find that. And that's what's kind of really killing it for me. Like it's kind of like, damn, like, you know, like before I kind of felt like everyone was on the same page. You know, the intentions were all the same. People were moving in the same direction as to what they want for dancehall to be on a global scale, you know, this kind of stuff. But then, like I said, like with everything, and I'm not like I said, I'm not the dancehall police or the dancehall what's the judge of, you know, like the one that's supposed to control as to where it goes. Like, you know, I'm not even Jamaican, but obviously I'm in love with it. I'm a massive you know, advocate, if I have to say advocate, you know, educator about it and all that kind of stuff. And I think with all that investment obviously comes a lot of attachment, you know, and all the years of being in it as well, you know. So I feel like I definitely have a place, especially even in Australia, where my place is obviously, even if I'm not Jamaican, is definitely affected greatly as to where the community is kind of evolving to and has evolved to so far. Like, and like I said right at the start, there's a lot of positive stuff that's happened. Like, I mean, you know, I would never imagine back then, you know, that I would travel and see dance hall in so many places in the world. Like that's freaking incredibly beautiful. Like, whoa, you know, like I can only imagine if I was Jamaican, how I would feel about that. Like to see everyone taking up my culture that way, you know, like loving it that way. And people, if I was Jamaican, seeing people like you, people like me who are like talking so passionately about something that's not even technically, you know, because we weren't born in Jamaica. We, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, yeah, like it just, I think for me, I feel like there's very much of an ancestral connection there. But like, just if I were to just talk about it, like from just a Jamaican perspective and not, you know, the other stuff that I just spoke about, ancestral and stuff like that, you know, I would be so proud, you know, like excited and like, oh my God, all these people taking it. But then at the same time, you know, the way I feel about what's happened to it now, I might be going around in circles right now, but yeah, the way I see where it's happening to it now, I feel even like once again, even if I'm not Jamaican, I still feel a way about it because I have invested all this time and energy in it. And I have been a part of that journey, you know, like where I've come into it towards the end of the middle school era and seen it evolve in great ways and also I feel in detrimental ways, you know?
I guess,
Yeah.
I don't know if you see it that way, but I usually refer it dancehall as if it was a person, you know, like imagine when you have someone you like it, when you have someone you love, let's put it this way, let's not say someone we like, let's say when you have someone you love, everything that people can do to that person will make you feel bad, will make you feel hungry, will make you feel, you know, and you actually, for you, you decided to accept that person, in case dancehall, as it is. You adapt yourself to it. You adapt your learning. You still love it after all these years, you know? So it's very difficult for me when I look to dancehall and I imagine these persons, and then I see so many other persons that don't want to understand this amazing person that I have on my front, you know, that don't want to hear, or still are not ready, let's not say don't want, that still are not ready to sit and hear this amazing person talk, like everything that it has to share, you know, like. But again, I will put myself on my path, and I am so lucky that I have this person already in my life, you know. And I I totally feel you, and I've been there, and I felt the same way, because I think that, I don't know if it is the fact, it is like a person. Sometimes you know the person, and then you get to know different things, and you not in love that much anymore, and then you realize that it was just a phase, and then you in love again, and then, you know, like. So I see it like this. I usually say that I have a relationship with the dancehall, and
We do. It's so true.
and there's ups and downs
Mm.
with every relationship. You don't want people to mess up with the person that you love, in this
Yeah.
case with dancehall. And sometimes we look around and we see so many people like doing so many things, you know, like, and I'm still grateful that there is so many people joining every day, because this means that we can be more passing the message if things are doing correctly, you know, and spreading the word. And even last week I went to just talk about theory, just to talk, you know, just sharing some historical facts and everything. And at the end, I remember saying to everyone there, because it was supposed to last 2 hours, we were there from 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. And I remember telling them, you know what is the most beautiful about this part? Is that I am showing you my loved one. And now, instead of being just one person talking about it, you all can do it. You all can do it because you were ready, and you gave me time, and you gave time to this person to talk to you and to really listen to it, although you may not understand it, and this may cause pain inside of you, because we are from Portugal and we are raised in a different way, and there's principles and things that you believed all your life, and suddenly you see that on that part of the world don't work like that, and maybe that can shock you, and you will need to work with that on yourself, so you can look again to that loved one and still love it same way, you know, like feel it yourself and still love it. But you're ready now, and I think that is everything. When we talk about so many things about the ease to access to information and everything, but at the end it ends up on everyone getting to that point when they are ready to realize that they need more, that
Mm.
they need to know this person, you know. We can spend all our life loving the same person. I believe in that, you know, like. And I usually say that I will pass all my life loving this person, with all the goods and all the bads that it brought me. It made
Yeah,
me, it made my
100%.
journey richer. And of course that I get pissed off, and I want to hit everyone that wants to do it bad, and I want to, you know, like I want to go in their page, and I want to go in there and just write a huge message. And I can't separate. I every time I got the chance, I will talk about it. I tell people about it. I write about it. I do videos about it. But I realized that sometimes doing that or doing nothing is exactly the same, you know. And me, instead of putting my energy on this person, I'm putting my energy on all the persons that are trying, you know. And maybe if I put my energy only on this person, although I'm just one person, if more people do that, we will be able to keep it for longer, you know. Even though we can't find the answers, and I truly relate with what you say. It's difficult to go on a community and find that answers that makes you scream and makes you cry and makes you feel, oh my God, and everything at the same time within your heart, and you just feel that power of that love inside of you, you know. But then I realized that maybe people are not ready to feel that love, and maybe people are still not in love enough to feel it, or they need to work on themselves. And I realized that even though I don't see it a lot, when I'm doing my research, when I'm reading my books, when I'm seeing my documentaries, when I'm dancing by myself, I feel it inside of me. So it's still alive. You know, it's
Yeah,
alive.
that's what I mean. Yeah.
So I learned, because before, how can I say, I needed that environment too, of course, and I do need it. But I realized that I am so in love with that still, that even though if that community don't understand it still, I will be here and I will feel it in the right way, because
Yeah.
a feeling like this you can never forget. You can never.
Yeah.
I am getting chills telling that this, because you know, this I usually tell this to my mom. There is no greater love from what I feel for this, and she's like, I don't understand. You are from here, and I was like, even me, I don't understand. But every time I talk about it, I feel the love. You know, I feel. I wish everyone that is part of this community, if they didn't felt it, they felt a third of what
Oh,
we feel. You know, like
yeah.
they would be, oh my God, there is something special here. These need
Mm.
to be protected. You know, these need to be. This is a person we need to care about. We need to get to know better. You know, it's like we are doing now. Although we are doing this mess, we are getting to know each other. We are giving each other the chance to share. We are knowing each other, and people need to give the chance to it, you know, to
Yeah.
know. And yeah, this is a very passionate point of view, and this is really what I feel, and this is really what how I see it nowadays. Because for a long time I felt sad with the community, with my country, with the persons around me, because they were not appreciating. And then I look inside of me and I was looking, I can't wait on them to feel the way I feel. I feel
Mhm.
this amazed. I feel this in love. I can only share if they give me the opportunity. I will keep learning for sure, because that is my choice. I will be a student all my life. I
Yeah.
wish, I wish life give me the strength for me to keep learning. And when I can't dance, I am sure that I will keep studying it, you know,
Yeah.
because
Mm.
it's some, I can't explain. It's something bigger. I think it's a phenomenon, you know, and with every phenomenon, with so much energy put into it for so many generations, for so many people, like slavery time, for like every effort, every sweat of every dancer from the middle school time, from the old school time, like everything that they dreamed about. I believe that that still lives inside of it, you know, like I
Of
believe
course,
that
that
that.
would never, that would never leave.
So I really think that this new generation, the fast food generation, the not ready to work generation, not ready to feel generation, you know, be,
Mm.
maybe, or maybe they are just on a point that they are not aware, they have all of these, they that they are not aware of all of these, you know. Sometimes
Or maybe we can say, or maybe it's not that they're not ready to, did you say love? Was that what it was? Feel, not ready to feel. I don't think it's that. I think that there's actually a lot of, you know, like in our time, there wasn't enough information.
Yeah.
Now there's a lot, to the point that there's also a lot of bullshit, like a lot of bad information, like a lot of bad quality information. So I think now the problem is not that they don't have it, but it's like they have to still dig, but dig different. They have to dig through the not so good information to get to the good information. Whereas before, when we needed to dig through no information to somehow find it somewhere. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, so I think that's what it is. I don't think they're a generation not ready to feel. To an extent, they're not ready to work. I have to agree with you on that one. Fast food nation, that's for sure. But I feel that definitely there's a level of overwhelmed information out there, that it's just kind of like, whoa, there's just so much. Where do I start? You know, like for example, you know, I don't know about you, but for me, the information that I received for dancehall, there only was mainly pretty much all I really knew was female or dancehall queen style of dancehall. Now you enter dancehall and all the information is there. You want to do female style, you want to do gun steps, you want to do party dances. Oh yeah, by the way, there's old school as well. Oh, and there's middle school as well, and there's new school. You know what I mean? Like, there's just so much. Yeah, there's a lot of information. So in some ways, I think like, not in some ways, in this side, I think I'm actually I'm quite excited or happy that I came in where I had to, it's like the information that I found was like, oh, I have this information. And then I, you know, play with this information that I have and dig more in this particular information. And then I keep looking and I still can't find it. Okay. And then I find more and I go, oh, there's this too. Okay, now I have this and this only, and I got enough time to still, you know, get to know these two things. And then later on, now I got this, and this. But now it's like, on the first time you find the book, whatever book it is, you know, like the book of dancehall, basically, you've got this. And I feel like everyone's just like, oh shit, whew, okay, which one, where do I start? You know what I mean? I feel like that could also be where a lot of the new cats coming in now, where they're struggling with, you know? So it's like, it's all this exciting information, and then it's also too much. And because it's too much, it's like, I don't know where to start, and then I don't know where to look, and fuck it, I'll just do it all. And I'll just do it all like whichever way I can. You know what I mean? It's really like that. It's like,
and then you realize like, fuck, how do connect this? How do I connect this from that? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go back there. You know, like, yeah, maybe you're right, you know, like I totally agree with that. And I guess that this will happen every time. I hope that the only thing that we can bring is more awareness. And I think that if the creators work on that we have been discussing, more awareness will come to people, you know, because there are still some creators doing that, and they can enlighten a lot of people, you know, from once, because there's a lot of people looking at them like, oh God, you know, like, and we can do nothing else besides that. And that was the point that I realized a long time, that I needed to sit, and I was like, so Diana, what you're trying to protect, you can't protect, you know, because it's not your job to do. You can talk, you can do your part of it, you can do the best you can with the responsibility you have, and with that I accept my mission, like I accept my mission and I do my part of it. But I feel that there's so many work to do that we will only be able to do it together if we
100%.
like together. Otherwise, these will keep this way, these will get worse. Hopefully not. Hopefully not.
Yeah.
But anyways, I can tell you already that I lived with this journey, I lived the most amazing feelings of my life, because just by the camp, every time I do the camp, I know that people see me crazy all over and everything, and they see me and then they don't see me and then they see me and then I'm like on my phone and everything. But I realize, what I like to do more? I sit on the corner, or I am always on the entrance of the room, and I see that teacher speaking their heart, speaking the culture to those people inside that room in the country that I didn't believe long time. And although 1/3 of them, maybe just 1/3 is Portuguese, already 1/3 of them is Portuguese.
100%.
You
Yes.
know? So I changed my perspective, and through the camp, I learned even more that I do it for the love, because I can't do one single class. With all the work that I have, I can't do one single class besides just one bit, just 2 minutes there, 2 minutes there, 2 minutes there, like. And when I see all those people dancing, when I see the teachers on the stage, my heart melts. Like, for a minute, everything in my life makes sense.
Sense. Yeah.
Everything in my life makes sense, and all the dots are connected. And that on that moment, sharing with you probably for the first time in words, I pray for all that people to listen without judgment, to listen, to get that feeling, and then to go home and to give themselves the time to digest and to relearn and to, like, not going there seeking like I need to that and that and that and that, but just take it, just listen without thinking, okay, saying that, okay, about this movement again, okay, like, just breathe in, breathe out, chill out, enjoy, get together with people, people, no more points of view, listen, ask what you have to ask, and take your time.
Yeah, 100. Take your time. That's like the key right there, Like I taught a private today, here on the Gold Coast where I live, and she's such a beautiful student. Like she's kind of been doing dancehall, I think, for like 2 or 3 years or something like that. And she shared with me a really beautiful story last week before she asked to do privates. She said that the first time she saw me was when I was on the TV show, like in 2014, So You Think You Can Dance. And she said when she watched me, she was like, oh my God, like, yeah, like I want to dance. Like she said that I was one of the catalysts to push her to go and learn to dance, So that was like a really amazing feeling, right? Yeah. And then being in dance hall, she also found dance hall that way. But she was never really a student of mine because I think at that time I was already living in Melbourne. But anyway, so she comes to my classes an hour away from where we live on Tuesdays, and she finds to be private with me today. And, she said she wanted to have a private lesson. So like, okay, fine. And she said, okay, I'm going to go away and I'm going to train all these things and work on all this information that you told me. And I will see you in 1 month's time. So it wasn't like she was like, okay, I want to see you tomorrow and the day after and the day after, or I want to see you next week. And then she said, that's all the information that I want right now. Everything you gave me right now is perfect, and this is what I'm going to study for the next month or 6 weeks or whatever until I come see you again,
That is
for private. And I was like, wow, like, really? But then the reason why she's like that is because I believe she's in her 40s. So she has a similar mentality about like taking your time and focusing and studying. And it's not about quantity, but about quality, all of that stuff. So I think maybe her age has a lot to do with it too, but still, even though that's the case, it was just so refreshing to hear a student be like, yeah, like I want to take my time with what you gave me because you gave me a lot. So I want to take my time with it. I'm like, okay, wow, okay.
that is beautiful. That's
Yeah.
Well, I actually don't have anything in my heart. I feel that I'm so happy with this talk from the very first part of it. You gave me the opportunity to talk about so many beautiful things, and I realized that I was actually confident and comfortable enough to talk about things that I never exposed, like out loud, like maybe I did it if I was sit here with you, like,
Yeah.
but not on using it as a platform or trying to giving people awareness. And I realized that we are the same,
Yeah.
that we are the same. And that makes me feel so happy because it gives me hope, like that there are more people crazy like me, so crazy about it that we are willing to do everything, like we are willing to travel the whole world just because of it. And that is amazing.
That is really amazing. It's so true. It's so true to hear you actually tell me, and express what you had dealt with about the sadness, and like, you were giving everything, and then, feeling like no one was digging as deep as you, and da 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 da. I was like, wow, like there's someone else that has experienced this. Because honestly, up until this moment, I didn't know anyone else that felt that way, that had gone through what I had gone through. Because every time I spoke to my mom about it, my mom's beautiful and I love her to bits. She's my best friend and we share about many things and everything like that. But of course, she's not going to understand every single thing I go through in my life, So when I used to, sometimes be on the phone crying, I would even get to that point, to be like, so frustrated, like I'm just giving everything to the community and like I just want everyone to just get this, that kind of stuff. And she would be there for me, but I know she doesn't understand it. And I always sat there kind of going like, is something wrong with me? Like, am I giving too much? Like, am I like this? Because I have had conversations about it, even with other dancers that not in dancehall, and no one has ever expressed it literally the same way that I would have expressed it. Like how you said you felt sad and how you feel like, yeah, you look at all these students and you want them to as well. And then and I'm like, oh my God, there's someone else that went through the same thing that I've gone through. Like it's really, like, I don't know what word to put on it, but it's just very comforting to know that there's another person out there, that like
somewhere in the world
that really is so passionate just like that, to the point of like that you have hurt yourself as in the process without even realizing it, and gone through that. Like yeah, it's comforting to know that, not to know that you hurt yourself, but to know that we really share that. Yeah. Oh, I think my battery is gonna die soon of my laptop.
I really want to thank you for this talk. You're really made me, it was very special to me. It was very special. And everything you need, I will be here. through a voice note distance.
And soon in person.
Hope, I really hope so. And when you come, you can be here at my house. You don't need to bother about it. It will be my pleasure. And you should stay like for a month, because we will have topics to talk like for a whole month.
For real. Oh my
And
God, I'd love to stay. Yeah, I'd love to stay for a month.
yes, just yeah. And thank you. You really, to the point. I got up. I told you before I start recording very quickly that I was pissed off yesterday. I was dead yesterday. I had to get up early to get my car going through the mechanics and everything. And now I feel like, like happy, truly happy. Thank you, Nadiah. It was amazing.
Thank you so much. Really, thank you so much for providing this platform so organically that, I can just share very freely and very openly, the truth as well, very honestly, and just for us to get, like, even though this is obviously a program to kind of like have other people also have a look into the way I see things, the way you see things. We've also had, this also been an opportunity for us to get to know each other better, and I think that's really special. And thank you so much for allowing me to share my perspectives, my views, my opinions, my experiences, my stories. And like I said to you about the last conversation, the last part that we the last chat that we had, I think last week or 2 weeks ago now, I don't know, can't remember. It kind of feels like a long time ago now. I already said that to you in the voice note, but I just want to repeat it again that, yeah, I'm just very, very grateful because it made me reflect and yeah, reflect on my experiences. I mean, I always reflect on my experiences, but then every time I reflect, I think something new comes up for me, like a new way of explaining it or a new realization of the experience, you know what I mean? And I think that's what's really special about this. Yeah. So thank you.
I will totally send you a voice note because I still want to talk about you of the dreadlocks.
Yes. Okay. Yes, we have a conversation about that
after. And but trust me, Nadiah, you have a very special place within my heart, and everything you need. I know you're in Australia, but we're together. Trust me. It's like I don't know you forever, but after these meds and from the time I know you, when I saw you, I need to share this. When I saw you, I was like, wow, I feel very familiar when I'm around her. Like I felt strangely comfortable. Like when you feel good around that person and you're like, here, we should talk more, like.
Funny because I felt the same way. I was like, yo, this girl though, like, yeah.
And now I totally, it's like, brothers in arms, sisters in arms.
Yeah.
Because I can't even describe how I feel. Is how special it is for me right now. Like it's just an amazing feeling of how can I say, I have someone very special that thinks the same way and that just brought me so much awareness through this beautiful conversation. So thank you so much. Enjoy your night.
Thank you.
I will enjoy my day.
Yes. Enjoy your day. I'm going to be snuggling out to my bed. Oh, I'm so excited about that too.
And anything, just voice note me.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to hearing your voice note about the locks, so we can.
I will do it while I will be doing lunch now.
Okay. Stay safe. Okay.
You too. Be careful now about the situation and the cases. And if you feel that you need to be home, just stay home. Don't care about others' opinions because sometimes we just need to do what we need to do.
100%.
Stay safe. Okay.
Sending you lots of love.
Love you.
Let's go. Everybody there.
Do you remember?
Me ready for have some fun again, you know.